Hello, Tim Stanton here again, and this is my leadership philosophy assignment. This week's topic is on leadership traits and styles. And I was asked to reflect on my what I thought was my positive personal leadership traits, as well as some areas that I think that I would need some work in, and how exactly I can develop those skills. And lastly, I wanted to know an individual who I knew that displayed the skills that I'm trying to develop. My personal leadership traits that I think are going to be beneficial to me as a principal is that I am highly organized and neat. I'm disciplined. That dates back to being a young man and being raised by my father. I had no choice but to learn how to discipline myself so that way I could avoid discipline from him. I like to plan things out. I want to be prepared for almost any contingency that can occur. And I am an empathetic individual. I can easily relate with other individuals and the problems that they are having. The main area that I know that I need work in is that when things happen and there's uncertainty involved with the future, I have a tendency to want to envision the worst case scenarios. And sometimes I'll do that to such a point that I actually have a physiological response to it. Heart will start beating, my breathing will increase. And I find when I do that, oftentimes, I will find myself working to avoid the worst case scenario, which is good in some ways, but in other ways, I think it'd be much better to try to identify the positive outcomes that could occur and then actively work for positive outcomes rather than working to avoid negative outcomes. And as a teacher, I have the ability to practice these things in my classroom. Teachers are leaders. We lead students, and I have the ability to practice these things and be cognizant of my thinking when events occur that could potentially, lead to negative outcomes. I need to better discipline my brain to also consider the positive outcomes that can occur and then actively work towards those outcomes. One of the people that I know that displays this characteristic is my wife. She always looks on the bright side of everything. And sometimes I can be slightly annoying to her because I like to point out bad things that could potentially happen. But she is a rosy future individual, very even-keeled. She doesn't get thrown off by things very often, and she almost always looks on the bright side and then tries to coordinate her actions as well as the actions of everybody else here in my family to obtain those positive outcomes.